Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2022 Defense Logistics Agency Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Kathy Rem. I'm the Communications Manager for DLA Human Resources and your MC for today's ceremony. Please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the rendering of honors, presentation of colors by the United States Air Force Honor Guard, the singing of our national anthem by Marine Master Sergeant Sarah Sheffield, and the invocation by DLA Chaplain Colonel Thomas Brooks.
Colors, halt, present, arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets we the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Right, order, halt. Colors turn, halt.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let us pray. We pray, O God, that you would bless this ceremony for the encouragement and inspiration of all here. We thank you for the privilege we all hold to be part of such an inspiring mission to support our nation and our warfighters in significant and even history-changing ways. We thank you for each and every person who exercises daily faithfulness and diligence in making this happen as dedicated professionals. We lift up those who will be recognized today, who have distinguished themselves through excellence, and in some cases by overcoming seemingly insurmountable obstacles to get the mission done. We acknowledge that our time, our energy, our gifts and talents are a gift from you, and we ask that you would help us to faithfully exercise these gifts for the good of others, to include our nation. Grant ever greater degrees of perseverance, a sense of belonging and teamwork, and commitment, we pray. Amen.
Please be seated. A special welcome to Vice Admiral Michelle Skubic, Director of the Defense Logistics Agency, Mr. Brad Bunn, DLA's Vice Director, Army Command Sergeant Major Tamika O'Neill, DLA Senior Enlisted Leader, our Hall of Fame inductees, past and present, their family members and friends, DLA senior leaders, and employees of DLA. Because in-person attendance is limited this year due to COVID precautions, I'm also happy to extend a virtual welcome to the former directors and vice directors, Hall of Fame inductees, past and present DLA team members, and loved ones of our current inductees who are watching remotely. Today, we honor former members of the DLA team who demonstrated unique and enduring contributions in support of our mission. Their contributions helped shape DLA into America's premier combat logistics support agency, a mission that we all proudly execute. They are true representatives of the DLA spirit. Our host for today's ceremony, Vice Admiral Skubik, directs an organization responsible for providing a variety of logistics, acquisition, and technical services to the military services and other federal agencies in peace and war. This worldwide mission is performed by 27,000 military and civilian logistics professionals. Please welcome the DLA Director, Vice Admiral Skubik.
So good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see you all. Thanks, Kathy. It's great to see you as well. Always good to have you at the podium over there. So welcome to our DLA Class of 2020 Hall of Fame inductees ceremony. I'm thrilled I could be here with you all to celebrate this significant occasion. As Kathy mentioned, the last time we were able to have a live Hall of Fame ceremony was over 3 years ago in June of 2019. So while current COVID conditions would not allow us to conduct this year's ceremony, while they have allowed us to conduct this year's ceremony in person, we still had to limit the numbers, as you can see in the auditorium today, due to the need for some social distancing. But we are still thrilled to welcome back Hall of Famers from the class of 2020, 2021, and then our new inductees for this year's Hall of Fame. And we very much look forward to the future where this auditorium is filled with past and present Hall of Famers, as well as so many friends and teammates who want to celebrate this special day. And while the last few years have been tough on everyone, and the pandemic has limited our ability to have in-person ceremonies, especially the opportunity to recognize these Hall of Fame teammates, I'm still so grateful for our teammates in public affairs and human resources for their creativity and passion in putting together 2 years of Hall of Fame classes, creative, and I dare say, world-class videos. So we inducted 9 new members into the Hall of Fame in 2020 and 5 in 2021, and fortunately some of them are with us today. And so whether you're here or not, I just want to take this opportunity to say again, congratulations to Susan, Walter, Tony, Sandra, Ray, Paul, Milt, Andy, Donald, Steve, Jim, Tom, Christos, and Denise. And so again, congratulations to all of you. Welcome, even though you've already been in. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. And how about a round of applause for our former inductees? And so today we're going to induct 6 more high-achieving former DLA teammates, bringing the total to 137 Hall of Fame inductees since the program was established in 1998. And before we recognize the current class, I'd be remiss if I didn't take a moment to acknowledge the recent passing of Edward J. Biddle, Hall of Fame class of 2003. He served at DLA from 1962 to 1998, starting as a hardware procurement trainee and rising to the position of Deputy Director of what is now DLA Energy. He was a respected leader in the fields of acquisition and petroleum logistics, and he will be greatly missed, but his legacy will live on. So thank you again, Kathy, for the introduction, and thank you, Chaplain Brooks, for the inspiring invocation. I took a moment to thank the Air Force District of Washington Color Guard, who has already left the building, and Master Sergeant Sarah Sheffield. She had to practice for a concert tonight, but wasn't that a lovely rendition? So I appreciate their support, and as I stood here in my Navy uniform next to Sergeant Major in her Army uniform and the Air Force Color Guard and a Marine Corps Master Sergeant at the podium, I thought it doesn't get much more joint than that. That was pretty cool. And of course, an event like this is not possible without the J1 team. We induct folks into the Hall of Fame every year, and Ms. Sharon Saunders and the pros in J1 make it happen. And I also want to thank Ms. Gwen Adams and all of our protocol team for their hard work in putting the event together as well. And so for all the folks who worked in front and behind the scenes in making this a special day, let's give them a round of applause. And I'd also like to add my warm welcome to some folks like Mr. Brad Bunn, our Vice Director. Glad to share the stage with our very own Command Sergeant Major Tamika O'Neill, our J3 Rear Admiral Doug Noble. We've got a couple of MSC commanders who made it today as well. Brigadier General Eric Shirley from Troop Support, Brigadier General Gail Atkins from Land and Maritime. Glad you could make it. And then I just want to give a special shout out to all of our inductees, family members or guests that are joining today as well, for you directly supported our teammates, our Hall of Fame selectees, in dedicating so much of their time and effort and unique talents to our critical DLA mission. So for all of our distinguished visitors, our senior leaders, flags and general officers, DLA teammates, past, present, Hall of Famers, past, present, welcome. So Colin Powell, former Secretary of State, once said that a dream doesn't become a reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. And the truth is, there are no shortcuts to success. Sorry. It requires consistent effort for a long time. And while no successful career path is the same as any other, you can find certain shared qualities and characteristics in high-achieving people, like persistence and determination and passion and focus and self-discipline and creativity and dedication to continued learning and so much more. And I think you'll find many of those qualities in this year's Hall of Fame class of 2022. Mr. Ted Case advanced some of our most consequential information technology programs, and he also served as vice director under 3 DLA directors. Ms. Catherine Fantasia innovated procurement and contracting solutions for DLA Energy as the nation increasingly turned to DLA for assistance with natural disaster response. Mr. Keith Ford helped transform DLA Troop Support's subsistence and clothing and textile contracting and customer support efforts. Ms. Jan Hoffheinz refined human resources, recruiting and retention strategies, and helped further the agency's management of HR services to our sister defense agencies. Mr. Gil Perkins implemented forward-leading initiatives in management, continuing legal education, and culture climate efforts across DLA Aviation's Office of General Counsel. And Ms. Janet Price improved efficiency by implementing new business systems and processes for DLA Aviation and its customers. The impeccable reputation of this great agency earned over the past 60-plus years can be attributed to these remarkable individuals and so many like them. They help lay the foundation of DLA's legacy of excellence. And I can say without reservation that we are so proud of our inductees. DLA's 13th director, Lieutenant General Henry Glisson, established the DLA Hall of Fame because he felt it was important, not just for the honorees, but for the current workforce as well. What could be better than connecting the past with the present, honoring the best of our best, and giving current team members a blueprint for success? We've always had a great team here at DLA, instilled with a deep desire to serve. For over 6 decades, DLA has remained true to our core principles of support to the warfighter and value to the nation. We're proud of our legacy, providing quality, global, responsive logistics when and where needed and at the right price. With a dedicated and talented workforce, we look forward to continuing to provide world-class service to our warfighters and our valued customers and partners. To our inductees, class of 2022, you're inspiring, as are all 137 members of the Hall of Fame. You're the leaders and the pathfinders and the innovators and the visionaries on whose shoulders we now stand today. And your contributions have led to what you see in this agency today, incredible growth across all of our lines of effort. The nation's Combat Logistics Support Agency and what we do is critical to this nation. And I can personally attest that I would not be here with the blessing of leading this incredible agency if it weren't for the mentoring and friendship and incredible exemplary leadership of many of our inductees, and I think you know who you are. So thanks to everyone across the DLA team, whatever you do, for your unsurpassed, steady, and focused support that you provide each and every day. At any given time across the globe, our military is training, partnering, defending, assisting, providing aid in support of our nation, our allies, and our partners. Their work never stops, and neither does ours. And I'm so grateful that no matter what challenge is presented to this team, you always stand up and meet that challenge head on, and you deliver. And I want to thank you all for being here to help us honor this special day and these inductees for their accomplishments and contributions to the DLA legacy. And it's time to give them their due. So thank you very much. Warfighter always.
Thank you, ma'am. As the director mentioned, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we could not gather in person to honor the DLA Hall of Fame classes of 2020 and 2021. Rather, they were recognized in virtual programs in their respective years. We invited those inductees to be part of this year's ceremony in person so we can recognize them formally here on stage at DLA headquarters. Several of our previous inductees were unable to join us in person today. They are from the class of 2020, Lieutenant General Donald Babers, former DLA Director, Lieutenant General Andrew Bush, former DLA Director, Milton Lewis, former Acquisition Executive for DLA Land and Maritime, Lieutenant General Raymond Mason, former Commander of DLA Troop Support, Walter Thomas, former DLA Associate General Counsel, and Ms. Susan Van Meter, former Portfolio Manager for Electronic Business Systems and DLA Information Operations. And from the class of 2021, Christos Kosval, former Deputy Director of Procurement Process Support in DLA Troop Support, and Thomas Legere, former Director of Disposal Operations in DLA Disposition Services. However, we are grateful to have several of our former inductees with us here today. Please welcome, from the class of 2020, Tony Palaio, former Director of DLA Finance, Sandra Miller-Thomas, former Staff Director for Human Capital Program Development in DLA Human Resources. And I'd also like to welcome Mary Beth Span-Mank, who has joined us to represent her husband, Paul Mank, former Acting Deputy Director of DLA Disposition Services, who was posthumously inducted into the DLA Hall of Fame in 2020. Joining us from the class of 2021 are Denise Canada, former Technical Quality Senior Advisor in DLA Aviation, Jim McClarty, former Deputy Commander of DLA Land and Maritime, and Steve Sherman, former Director of DLA Document Services. Ladies and gentlemen, the DLA Hall of Fame classes of 2020 and 2021. Thank you, and congratulations again. You may return to your seats. We will now turn our attention to the class of 2022. This year's inductees are Edward Ted Case, former DLA Vice Director; Catherine Fantasia, former Director of the Direct Delivery Fuels Directorate in DLA Energy; Keith Ford, former Deputy Director of the Clothing and Textile Supply Chain in DLA Troop Support; Janet Jan Hoffhines, former Administrator of DLA Human Resources Services in DLA Human Resources; Benjamin Gill Perkins, former Director of the Office of Counsel in DLA Aviation; and Janet Price, former Director of Procurement Process Support in DLA Aviation. Ms. Price is unable to be here in person today. Welcome, inductees. You may be seated. Thank you. Please join me in watching a special presentation highlighting the lives and careers of this year's Hall of Fame class. The inductees here today have each been presented with their medals to wear during the induction ceremony. They will also receive a commemorative plaque, a congratulatory letter from the DLA director, and a DLA Hall of Fame lapel pin. Each inductee's spouse or family member will also receive a certificate of appreciation. Our first inductee for 2022 is Edward Ted Case. Mr. Case served DLA with distinction for 26 years, rising to the highest levels of civilian leadership while driving some of the most significant changes in the agency's history. He arrived at DLA in 1992 as a Navy commander and continued to serve at DLA as a civilian upon his retirement from the Navy in 2001. While he was Deputy Chief Information Officer, the J6 team replaced the agency's 40-year-old legacy IT supply system and transformed its business support processes with the Business Systems Modernization Enterprise Resources Program. He also drove efforts in cybersecurity, e-procurement, integration of IT operations across the agency, J6 budgeting and staffing, and special projects with the Defense Information Systems Agency and Office of the Secretary of Defense. In 2010, Mr. Case became DLA Chief Information Officer and was elevated to DLA Vice Director in 2012. As Vice Director, he led some of DLA's most complex, wide-reaching, and impactful initiatives, including the $13.1 billion Big Ideas Business Process Improvement Initiative, audit advancement, and the growth of DLA's whole-of-government disaster relief efforts. His steady hand and deep knowledge of technology, logistics, procurement, and finance greatly impacted the entire DLA enterprise. Ladies and gentlemen, Ted Case.
Vice Admiral Skubik, Mr. Bunn, Lieutenant Sergeant Major, General and Flag Officers, active and retired, Senior Executive Service members, active and retired, DLA senior leaders, Hall of Fame members, DLA associates and guests. Thank you so much for this capstone honor to my career in the Navy and the DLA family. As Marcia and I were driving up from North Carolina, she reminded me not to wander off these remarks. 3 to 5 minutes. It's normally be brilliant, be brief, and be gone, but she said, we can't do the first one. Be brief and be gone. So for the first point, be brief. I don't have time to stand up here and thank by name all the thousands of DLA leaders and associates who worked so hard, accomplished so much over the years, and I took credit for. You know who you are. And as a body, I thank you. Your service to the country is remarkable. In preparing for this event, I went back through the write-ups of all the previous members and the current Hall of Fame inductees. I sat in that audience quite a few times since General Glisson initiated this event. I am proud to say that the accomplishments of these individuals are staggering and mind-boggling. And I'm not sure I deserve to be in this Hall of Fame, as all I did was work hard, have fun, and try to make it fun for everyone else around me. But you kindly put me in, so I accept this honor, and that concludes be brief. So to the second point, be gone. That's the easy part. No sweater jokes, no walking the hall jokes, no late night email jokes, and no audit readiness jokes. And if you got a late night email from me, you know what that's all about. But perhaps one possible story. Years ago, DLA started an oral history program. Many senior leaders and I tried to participate. I wrote 11 single-space pages of DLA senior leader history as I remembered it. And as suggested, I submitted it to the DLA General Counsel for review. None of you will ever see that oral history. When it came back from the General Counsel, the only items that were not redlined were my name on the first page and thank you on page 11. In the margins were handwritten comments like, you can't say that, libel, slander, politically not correct. Oh well, I tried. From afar, I watched your accomplishments in the news, the early bird, and a DLA Facebook page. I hope to see many of you again, but my track record hasn't been too good on that so far. So again, thank you. You are in my thoughts and prayers. And if you ever need help from an old DLA warhorse, just send me a late night email. Thanks and good day.
Our next inductee is Catherine Fantasia. Ms. Fantasia distinguished herself as a leader and consummate procurement professional during her 23 years of service. As the Director of Direct Delivery Fuels for DLA Energy, her innovative approach during war and national emergencies was critical to standardizing contract award procedures by streamlining and reducing the time to award contracts. Ms. Fantasia provided unparalleled support to DoD and federal civilian agency customers worldwide, ranging from uninterrupted fuel support to operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, to humanitarian assistance and disaster relief support to FEMA for fuel-related hurricane response requirements. She exhibited sound judgment and utmost integrity and conveyed a positive approach in all she did. She accomplished her duties with outstanding loyalty and never hesitated to go the extra mile to support the warfighter. Her ability to rise and meet any challenge served as an inspiration to all DLA Energy employees. Ladies and gentlemen, Catherine Fantasia.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Admiral Skubik, Mr. Bunn, all the distinguished guests that are here. I don't have all the names, so I can't list them out, but I see a lot of familiar faces and friends. Actually, I'm very honored and quite shocked to be nominated to the DLA Hall of Fame. And to top it off, I have to follow Ted Case with remarks, and that's a tough act to follow, but I'll give it a shot. And echoing Admiral Skubik's comments, I also wanted to take a moment to remember Ed Biddle, who is a DLA and a DLA Energy Hall of Fame member who passed away earlier this week. He was the director of contracting when I was hired in 1991. And not only was he a contracting legend, but he was a kind and wonderful leader, and we learned a lot by the example that Mr. Biddle set. So he'll be missed by his friends and family. And so, moving on, when I got the email that I had been selected to the Hall of Fame, they seemed to focus on my coming back to work as a GS3. The reality was I started my government career as a GS2 medical transcriptionist in 1978 at St. Elizabeth's Hospital. And when I started my career, I in no way, shape, or form ever thought that I'd be standing here. But like so many women, my career was not a straight line. At 23, I left government service after the birth of my twins and then had another baby. So that's 3 children under the age of 3, which was a full-time job in and of itself. But unfortunately, my salary did not cover the cost of childcare. So I took a 9-year hiatus and returned to the workforce 9 years later. And one of the reasons I was able to do that was because my husband ran a successful business from home, so I did not have to worry about childcare. But I do have one little anecdote. So when I interviewed for that GS3 procurement clerk position, I was asked who would be caring for my children when I came back to work. And my answer was really quick, and I'm surprised I got the job, and I just asked, would you be asking any other man that same question? And I came to work a couple months later, so I didn't shoot myself too hard in the foot. So I worked in direct delivery fuels for most of my career, and that was a journey. Like so many of us here today, 9/11 profoundly changed the trajectory of my career. Little did I know that I and my team members in direct delivery and in policy and in legal and in quality and our military partners I would spend the rest of my career supporting the warfighter in Afghanistan and Iraq. Didn't do it alone, again. It was a team effort. And I'd love to name some of those, but the list I'd be up here for 10, 20 minutes. And we also had superb military partners in Air Force Petroleum, Navy Petroleum, Army Petroleum, our military members in the regions and in the field. It was just truly a group effort. But the one thing I remember from that time was our motto was, as long as there are boots on the ground, energy will not fail. We came close a couple times, but we didn't fail. And one example of that was when our fuel supply from Pakistan basically dried up. we were already working on another resilient supply chain from the north. And that was successful. And at the time, Admiral Honachek asked, why did we think that would work? And the answer was, you pack a supply chain, make it repeatable, and you have success. And that's what we did at Energy. We did accomplish some pretty other innovative solutions. Most notable was, we took the risk off of DLA and put it on the contractor. So those millions of gallons of fuel that was stored at Bagram Air Base, they owned. We didn't own it. So that was one risk that we alleviated. That effort came with a little bit of oversight. So our efforts in Afghanistan led to a congressional report titled Mystery at Manas. If you're not familiar with that, Google it. It's very interesting reading. But in the middle of all that, as been said before, we also provided humanitarian support and disaster relief around the world. So Energy came up with an innovative concept to have a contractor ready to supply fuel in humanitarian disasters across the country. And we also use them in Haiti as well. And we still use that today. But from the earthquake in Haiti to tsunamis in Japan and Indonesia, we direct delivery provided first-rate fuel support to responders and the military. And when you think about humanitarian relief in our country, Sandy, Irene, Rita, Katrina are just a few that we were called upon to support. But one other thought that came to mind is even the pandemic did not slow down DLA Energy. When they went to full-time telework, I was 100% confident that they wouldn't skip a beat. They wouldn't miss a beat, and fuel requirements, the military requirements, and the federal civilian requirements would continue to be met. But perhaps the most rewarding part of my time at Energy was the people. We hired interns fresh out of college, and we trained them to become the next leaders. And when I returned today, I saw some of those interns who are now in leadership positions. And one thing that I used to say to the people who worked with me or for me, if I got hit by a bus on Friday, on Monday, there'd be somebody sitting in my chair, because that's the way we trained our next level of leadership. So I didn't get hit by a bus, thankfully, but I did have my boss walk into my office on a Friday afternoon, and he said, Catherine, you're gonna be detailed to bulk delivery, bulk petroleum. And I was like, okay, when do I start? He said Monday. So I packed up my desk on Friday and reported to a new desk on Monday, and my replacement sat in my chair, because that's the way we did things at Energy. So I have to give credit to the leadership at DLA Energy for fostering a continuous dedication to training, mentorship, and leadership, and it shows. And the last thing I want to do is I want to thank the leadership at Energy and at DLA for its commitment to diversity and inclusion. When I started at Energy in 1991, the leadership was predominantly men. When I retired, I saw more women and people of color held leadership positions. The glass ceiling was cracked, if not shattered. And that makes Energy and DLA a stronger and more resilient organization. Congratulations to my fellow inductees, and it's indeed an honor and a privilege to stand here with you.
Our next inductee is Keith Ford. Mr. Ford's Hall of Fame induction reflects his outstanding mission support from 1981 through 2016. He began his federal career as a GS-5 contract specialist, working his way up the ranks before retiring as the Deputy Director of the Clothing and Textile Supply Chain. He led a staff of 338 professionals through unprecedented changes in uniform requirements. He was known as the father of prime vendor in subsistence, overseeing the rollout of a program that is still in existence 20 years later. Mr. Ford's leadership style is one of trust in his people to do the right thing and keep him advised. His dedication, commitment, loyalty, vision, and willingness to dig beneath the surface for solutions indisputably characterized him as a superior leader and individual. Ladies and gentlemen, Keith Ford.
So public speaking is not one of my favorite things, and I haven't had to do it for a while, fortunately, but you're stuck with me for the next 3 to 5 minutes. Admiral, Command Sergeant Major, thank you for having me. Distinguished visitors, flag officers, general officers, SESs, senior leaders, chaplain, thank you all for coming. I am deeply honored to be selected to the DLA Hall of Fame. I spent 35 years working at DLA Troop Support, most of the time working for DLA Troop Support, occasionally for Mr. Tony Paleo when I was kidnapped to the J8. But I think I contribute a lot, and I've learned a lot as part of that. And I got a lot in return, to tell you the truth, because every job was an adventure. I met my lovely wife there, 36 years. Got my master's through DLA, raised my daughters through DLA, got to travel across the world. Previous inductee to the DLA Troop Hall of Fame was General Proctor. Went to Europe with General Proctor. He was kind enough to get a helicopter. We flew down to Rhine. We saw castles. We worked hard. We had to go see UCOM and USER to put that Father of Prime Benders thing in. But, you know, it was great. I was up in Alaska. We had a nice executive jet donated by the Army. Flew up around the Aurora Borealis. Great. The only bad news was it was January. It was minus 60. But otherwise, it was a great trip. But I did have a lot of travel and a lot of opportunities. I've had the privilege of working with a lot of outstanding people, both here at the headquarters and at DLA Troop Support. I was looking at the list of previous inductees. I saw about 8 or 9 of my previous commanders and deputy commanders, another dozen of my coworkers on that list. And so, you know, I'm proud of the people who worked at Troop Support, proud of the people at DLA, but I take special interest in Troop Support because I spent my entire career there. I've had several mentors who guided me through my career, and there's too many to mention. Some of them guided me to do the right thing. Some of them guided me to do something I didn't think it was the right thing, but the right thing in the end, and someone told me what not to do. But their leadership, you know, gave me the information I needed to move ahead. I was given an opportunity to work in multiple supply chains. C&T the second time involuntarily. I was in subsistence, prime vendor. I spent some time at C&T. I worked for the comptroller for a while. Then I was kidnapped back to C&T. And it was a great opportunity with lots of challenges. I had managers who gave me flexibility, and that's the biggest thing I've learned from other managers. Give the people a job and let them do it. If they need your help, they'll tell you, give them the resources they need, but don't micromanage. Don't look over their shoulder. If you're gonna do that, do it yourself. And I did learn that from my mentors, and I tried to do that as I managed my operations. For the last 25 years of my life, I was a manager at Troop Support. I worked with outstanding staffs. There was numerous challenges. There was Desert Storm. There was OEF, there was OIF, there was Kosovo, there was wildfires. And the folks who worked at Troop Support took care of those problems and did it on a regular, reoccurring basis. These are the folks who made sure the services got everything they need. I had the privilege of working with some of the best contracting, customer service, and planning staffs in DOD, some of the finest logisticians in America. I also had the privilege in C&T of overseeing what's commonly known as the flag room and the flag ladies in the flag room. Probably the most famous people in DLA over time. They've been to the White House. They've been, every visitor that comes to Troop Support comes to see them. You get to sign the presidential flag before they embroider over it. It was a different part of my career, but it was one I enjoyed the most probably. So as I close, I'd like to thank those who nominated me, those who endorsed me, and those who elected me. And then lastly, I'd like to thank my wife and 2 daughters, Courtney and Amanda, again, for the support I received from them, because they dealt with a lot of stuff over time. There was a time I came home Friday around 5 o'clock, said, "Hon, I'm going to Europe for a couple days." We ain't leaving, not tomorrow. That happened, and they took care of things at home and made me never feel guilty about doing what I was doing. So in closing, I'd like to thank you all again for coming. I'd like to thank you for electing me and hosting this meeting, and congratulations to the other electees.
Our next inductee is Jan Hoffhines. Ms. Hoffhines served with great dedication and leadership from 2009 to 2016 as Administrator of DLA Human Resources Services, bringing the organization to its maturity as the service provider of choice for the Fourth Estate. She served as a role model for the modern human resources professional with her vision of an HR workforce of the future. She led the development of a comprehensive onboarding program for all new DLA new employees, regardless of geographic location, organization, job series, or grade. The DLA Enterprise Newcomers Getting a Global Entrance, or ENGAGE program, has become essential in promoting employee culture and a model of efficiency. Her experience within human resources continues to have a lasting impact on the mission of the agency and DLA Human Resources. Ladies and gentlemen, Jan Hofheinz.
Just in case. Vice Admiral Skubik, Command Sergeant Major, the J1 family, the DLA Worldwide family, and fellow inductees, good afternoon. I want to begin by saying how honored and humbled I am to be standing here today. When I began working at Red River Army Depot back in August of 1965, if anyone had even suggested that this little girl from Red Lick, Texas, would be here right now, I would not have believed them. You've already heard the basis for my nomination and selection for this wonderful recognition, so I won't talk about that. I have to say, however, that leading good people makes the job so much easier, and I share this honor with them, the men and the women of DLA J1 and DHRS, whose unflagging efforts every day are the key to providing world-class support to all DLA employees, thousands of other DoD agency employees, and our warfighters. There are so many thanks that need to be given to people who have supported me and been by my side, enabling me to get to this point. At the very top of my list are my daughter Julie and my son Rob. Over many years, several moves, both CONUS and OCONUS, and numerous job changes, they have continuously encouraged me to be all I could be, and I would not be here today without their unfailing love and support. I also would like to thank my longtime companion, Mo Faber, who has been a mentor and supporter of my career for many years and continues to do so while attempting to keep me grounded. Now, for those of you who know me, that is not an easy task, for sure. Thank you, Mo, for being here today. And of course, I want to give a huge, well-deserved thanks to all the folks who supported me during my time at DLA. First, thanks to Al Ressler, who brought me to the headquarters in 1989. Thanks to Jeff Neal, who allowed me to serve as his deputy and was instrumental in me achieving the rank of SES at the Department of Commerce. And Jeff, thank you so much for being my guest here today. I owe you a lot for your great support. And thanks to Karen Webb, who I hope is watching, who with Jeff hired me to be the DLA Human Resources Administrator in 2009. Thanks also to Brad Bunn, who supported me as the DHRS Administrator and taught me the importance of metrics. And Brad, believe it or not, I have metrics for both of my barbershops because of you. A big thanks goes out to all of my DHRS deputies, starting with Kathy Roberts, who sat outside my door and served as my unofficial deputy. Kathy was always so honest with me, whether I wanted to hear it or not, and I couldn't thank her for more of that honesty and her hard work and for being here today. To my other DHRS deputies, Jill Cromer, Derek Saunders, Pete Marcassani, Debbie Osborne, and Carrie Haley, I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for serving me so well during my DHRS tenure. Finally, to all the dedicated DHRS employees who did the hard work upon which this recognition is based, thank you. I could keep on rambling, but I've said enough.
DLA provides outstanding support to our warfighters, and I am so proud to have been a part of it. Induction into the DLA Hall of Fame is the culmination of an amazing journey, and my time with DLA has been one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. Thank you all so much.
Our next inductee is Benjamin Gill Perkins. Mr. Perkins served DLA for more than 34 years, culminating his career as DLA Aviation Chief Counsel. He joined DLA in 1981 as a part-time law clerk at the Defense General Supply Center. During his tenure at DLA Aviation, Mr. Perkins represented the agency in a significant number of protests before the Government Accountability Office and contract disputes before the Armed Services Board of Contract Appeals. When he became DLA Aviation Chief Counsel in 2006, he successfully adapted the Office of Counsel to the mission changes mandated by the Base Realignment and Closure Commission of 2005. He ensured that legal support to the new mission was seamless and that attorneys, though geographically separated, performed as a single high-functioning team. Mr. Perkins also contributed to management initiatives above and beyond his role as Chief Counsel for DLA Aviation. He was at the forefront of DLA's first efforts to improve climate and culture by serving as a DLA culture champion, and also assumed a leadership role in planning and conducting the Office of General Counsel's annual Continuing Legal Education Seminar. Ladies and gentlemen, Gil Perkins.
Thank you. Vice Admiral Skubik, Command Sergeant Major, Mr. Bunn, DLA senior leaders, Hall of Fame members, distinguished guests, and all of the DLA team. Thank you. When I received a phone call that I was being nominated for the Hall of Fame, I was quite honored, but more importantly, I was humbled, because I cannot take credit for any of the success, and I won't. When I came out of law school, I was hell-bent on going to DLA, and I was going to make a difference. And I realized that very soon I made mistakes, I had a few missteps, but hopefully I learned from those. All of the successes were ours. We succeeded. It was a team effort. It is only through that team effort that we did succeed. I'm especially proud of this recognition because it recognizes the contributions that members of the legal office make to that team. I was told once by a commander that the advantage of lawyers is they don't bring an organizational bias. Well, hopefully we bring a lot more, but what we do bring is very sound legal advice, a high sense of professionalism, and extensive knowledge both in the business and practical aspects of fulfilling the mission. I always told my lawyers, give the best legal advice possible, but always, always help your clients fulfill their mission, because that is number one. And they continue to do that today. So DLA as a team has succeeded. DLA as a team will continue to succeed. Thank you very much.
Our final inductee for 2022 is Janet Price. Ms. Price's 30-year career began as a contract specialist in 1985 at the Defense General Supply Center. As a director for procurement process support, she initiated innovative changes and sustained extraordinary accomplishments related to DLA's ability to support 3 million stock numbers and more than 1,800 weapon systems with consumable parts. She led the implementation of a new enterprise business management system to ensure the inclusion of the additional missions DLA gained under BRAC 2005 were included in the new business model. She also led the DLA-wide effort to reduce acquisition lead time and streamline purchasing processes for consumable supply parts. This initiative, commonly referred to as time to award, required significant leadership skills and the ability to focus on specific areas for improvement in a highly complex environment. She created a new benchmark within DLA Aviation for customer service, new business, and procurement processes, which improved retail support, reduced supply chain risk, and contributed to a more productive and focused workforce. Ms. Price was unable to attend today's ceremony, so she recorded a message to share with her DLA family on this momentous occasion.
Vice Admiral Skubic, Vice Director Bunn, please accept my heartfelt thank you for this honor. To the DLA family, I'd like to take the next few minutes to convince you or just remind you of 3 reasons why you have the greatest job in the world. First, where can you go and work and have such a direct impact on your nation and world events? There are 26,000 of you supporting 5 military services, multiple combatant commands, federal, state, and local agencies, and allied nations. Your support provides an end-to-end global defense supply chain from raw materials to end-user dispositions, all in support of our warfighter. Your quality and proactive global logistics actions generate an annual spend exceeding $40 billion in goods and services. Secondly, I'm in my 2nd year of federal retirement. It's been great, and in case you haven't gotten the memo, most of corporate America doesn't provide you with a retirement system or hospitalization anymore. You will be fortunate to have an adequate 401k that will be primarily your contributions. I promise when you start drawing your civil service or FERS retirement, then Social Security and filing withdrawals from your TSP, you will have 3 viable streams of income. It will be enough to continue your lifestyle to which you have become so accustomed. Lastly, it is really important to love what you do. If you don't have the right subordinates, the right leader, or the right job, don't be afraid to change your world. Shake it up, search for your niche. And remember to always take care of your peers and your trusted and valued employees. You'll land on your feet and you'll find your contributions will be as important to you as they will be to the organization. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening. God bless you and the United States of America.
At this time, I'd like to ask this year's inductees to join Vice Admiral Skubic and Command Sergeant Major O'Neill for a group photograph. Please join me one more time in congratulating all of our DLA Hall of Fame inductees. I invite each of you to a reception immediately following today's ceremony where you can personally congratulate our inductees and their families. Please rise if you've taken your seats again. We'll allow just a few minutes for our honorees to depart the stage and join their loved ones. Then please remain standing for the departure of the official party. On behalf of the Defense Logistics Agency, thank you for attending today's ceremony and helping us make this a special event for our deserving inductees.